everybody. Welcome back to our channel. I'm Bree.
And I'm Evan.
And this is Reality Check TV. Here is where we discuss some of our favorite reality shows to watch together as a couple. So if you love reality TV like we do, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you can get notified anytime we post a new review.
Expeditiously.
What's going on, beautiful people? We are so happy to be back. I hope you guys are having a great week so far. I know it's still early. So I'm just hoping that everything is on the up and up with you. I got my Beyonce shirt on. Can y'all see my Beyonce shirt? I got my Beyonce shirt on because it's Beyonce week, okay? I saw Renaissance in the theaters this past weekend. Y'all know I went to the concert over the summer. I plan to see Renaissance in the theaters one more time, at least. Okay, 2 more times, at least. So it's Beyonce everything over here. You know, all black, everything over here. I hope you guys went to go see it. How do you feel?
Best episode in a while. I took a couple naps in between, but I've been awake for this episode.
When did you take naps? He's over-exaggerating. I think Evan's trying to be funny. Because when did you take any naps?
Let's get into it.
Okay, so the episode starts off with Kimmy and Maurice. They are in their business building that they are renovating. And they have Micah, who is Maurice and Marceau's brother, doing the renovations. You guys remember we had this conversation with them weeks ago because Micah was behind on the renovations. Well, Micah is still behind on these renovations. Kimmy is frustrated because she's saying she has these people that are interested in some of the office space within the building, and they need to hurry up and get in there. And so they have to hurry up and move these renovations along. So she's complaining to Maurice, letting him know, like, hey, I don't feel like you're helping me in any of this, yada, yada, yada. Y'all, it's the same old story. Kimmy complains about Maurice not being supportive or helpful. Maurice claims he is, and he's doing the best he can. And then they just go back and forth. Right? Yeah. We don't care no more. Because, again, Kimmy, this is your choice. Which was hilarious, by the way. Because she brings up in this scene how she feels like she was bamboozled. Okay? By Maurice when they were dating, because he claimed to be a handy man. And so she felt like she was marrying a handy man. And then they get married, and then he's not so handy. He's not wanting to do anything and help her out and be hands-on and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, girl, you are too old to be bamboozled by this idiot. I'm just sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Wasn't Kimmy and Maurice dating for like 6 years before they actually got married?
Mm.
I just find it hard to believe that he claimed to be this hands-on person and loved to do like anything dealing with, you know, property, renovations, and all of that stuff. And then after you guys got married, all of that just completely stopped. I just feel like there's more to that. I no longer want to believe that Maurice just turned into who he is now after they got married. There are extreme red flags with Maurice that I was able to notice just by watching him on TV season 1 and 2. Like, there were just different things that just didn't really add up. And so it's starting to make me feel like Kimmy wasn't asking certain questions or paying attention to certain things when they were dating, especially for as long as they were dating. They were dating for like 5 or 6 years. So I just feel like this whole, I was bamboozled, you're not who you presented yourself to be when we were dating for the 6 years. I don't really know. Maybe he wasn't. I think that you take a responsibility and think to yourself, like, was he a different person, or was I just like not paying attention? But that's neither here or there. Now, during this scene, Kimmy tells Maurice about how Tisha took that fake pregnancy test when they met up for the Yoni Steam treatment thing. And this is when I got annoyed. First, well, I mean, we were talking to Kimmy and Marie, so I've been annoyed. But it was so frustrating because both of them are taking Tisha doing the pregnancy test as like a sign, I guess, as a sign of disrespect to Marceau, because Marceau and Maurice got a vasectomy seasons ago. And it was during this episode that I remember they actually did film this. Like, we did see this. And you know, Maurice starts laughing, and it's like he's like in complete shock. Like, what's going on with Tisha? Like, why she out here basically wilding like that? And it's like, I guess I missed the punchline. Like, I was so confused as to why Kimmy in particular is so, like, I guess, turned off by Tisha doing the pregnancy test and not telling Marceau. I guess they're trying to allude to Marceau actually having a vasectomy, and then Tisha having doing a pregnancy test means that she's out here in these streets. But nobody believes that. So I'm just so like, I guess honestly, last weekend's episode when she did the pregnancy test, to be honest, like, I just felt like it was just Tisha wanting to have a scene. Like, nobody believes it for a second. I think that it was just a reach because, again, we're trying to avoid what's really going on in their life, so they're creating other, like, shock moments. And now that I'm thinking about it, maybe Kimmy and Maurice are in on it too, and that's why they're even making it into a thing. I don't know what their logic is here. I don't get it. Do you get it?
No, because it's all fake. Tisha, before coming to the spot, what is this spot? I don't know what it is,
Yes, it
but
can be a spot. Yeah.
she went to the dollar store and got a pregnancy test
Right.
when she should have bought an IQ test. But she would have felt the shit out of that. But at all places, you come bring it to this spa, like, oh my gosh, and you take this. Like, I know your life is boring and you got to create something on this show, but that dollar store pregnancy test, come on now.
Yeah, it was just like you fishing for a moment, and they're trying to keep the moment going. Like, I really felt like we should have just ended it last weekend, but they're steady going. I'm like, we don't care.
Yeah.
Like,
Um, it that was just so not needed. Um, Production came and said, "Look, Letitia, you gotta do something spicy, man." But like I said, Marcel had a vasectomy. We saw that a couple seasons ago. And Maurice, I don't know what guys just meet up and say, "Let's have a vasectomy party." But ain't no way. Trust me, ain't no way. I understand vasectomies are not 100%.
they're not.
But there ain't no way. Letitia's just being extra. Kimmy's just being extra.
Okay, guys. So this is when the episode takes the turn, okay? Stormy meets up with Tisha, unfortunately. And Stormy is coming into the conversation with Tisha, trying to see if Tisha is open to having a conversation with her cousin Kiki. Now, Stormy, let it go. Let it go. Why do you care so much? Like, again, maybe because it's for the show, but girl, just mind your business. Like, just please let it go. But anyways, she's not going to. So she's talking to Tisha to see, like, girl, like, would you be willing to have a conversation? Tisha's like, absolutely not. Not only is she not open to having a conversation with Kiki, but she's also steady accusing the girl of still being on drugs. Now, this is strike one for Stormy in this conversation, I would say. This is strike one because Stormy gets offended by it because she's like, you accusing someone of doing drugs or being on drugs and you don't have 100% truth. Like, that's not cool. Especially, like, we're on TV. Like, come on. Like, you already know what you're doing as far as her reputation. And we see what Tisha is doing. Now, I have said before, at the beginning of this season, that I felt like, I don't know, it could be a possibility. The whole her stealing stuff out of stores. I don't know, because I don't know that lady, right? I'm really treading lightly with this whole drug thing. And I've been doing that. Or we've been doing that. You know, we can say our opinions and stuff, but we're not filming this show. Now, as the episodes have went on, and since Kiki has had her conversation with Tiffany, what I will say is I still don't know. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know that lady, so I'm not going to say if she's on drugs or not. I'm just not. And if we're going based off of people's behavior, all y'all are probably dibbling, dabbling in something, because clearly something is off. Something is off with decision making on this show. Clearly. But I digress. Accusing your cousin of being on drugs because y'all had a falling out, because there's some other stuff going on that we don't know about because you don't share it. It's not cool, right? Like, my thing is because of Tisha and Marceau that we even know that Kiki had a past of using. It's because of them. They brought it to the show. And at that time, Kiki wasn't even on the show yet. So I feel like that is also it's like constant dig. So I can get the frustration on that part alone from Kiki's end, because they've been doing it since day one when it comes to Kiki. And if the woman is really clean and she's not using, this is doubly offensive. So I get it. But that's the route that Tisha's decided to take. And Stormy's not here for it. So Stormy, in this moment, she sees that the conversation's not going to go anywhere, and Tisha is not open to talking to Kiki. So she's like, I'm going to just let it go. That's between y'all. So how was your trip? Remember, Tisha brought up, I think, last episode that she went to Vegas. And so she's telling Stormy about her trip to Vegas with, I think she said, her line sisters. Somebody was getting married, so they were celebrating that. But while she was away in Vegas, Marceau was in Colombia for a bachelor party or trip. Same thing. And Stormy takes a little dig, and she was like, why Colombia? Isn't that like the place with all the brothels? And, you know, trying to allude that your man went out there to cheat. Probably. It's Marceau. This is the same dude that went to Africa without his wife to cheat. So, like, I don't care, y'all. I really don't. God himself gonna have to come down and convince me that that man is not cheating on Tisha. I mean, he shows all the signs. He has been since day one. It's all of the signs are there. The writing is on the wall. So it kind of is what it is. And at this point, we have just kind of let it go. We don't even talk about it because we just expect it. It would be shocking to find out that he has been completely faithful.
That man was spending money over there. And I'm not talking about on shot glasses, Columbia shirts. So, but no, don't nobody trust Marceau overseas. This man is cheating all over the world. Let me tell you, we cheating in Bama, Vegas, Atlanta, Africa. So like, this man cheating all over the world. It's crazy. This man has so many stamps in that passport. Man, let me tell you.
Like, nobody, come on, we don't believe that he's faithful. There's nothing you can do. You can say as many times, like she said last week, I meant to mention this. She was like, she told Kimmy that Marceau said that, you know, babe, we need to go back to counseling. I don't believe that. I don't believe that he said that. Just like how she said in this episode, when Stormy questioned her about him going to Colombia, she was like, yeah, like he was saying, he called me saying it was such a good time. Like, babe, we got to come out here and we got to make a trip. Just me, you and you. Like, I don't believe that.
No, he didn't. She made that up in his head because what he really said was, babe, I got to come back out here with the guys again. It had nothing to do with her. She just thought it sounded good. It had nothing to do with her.
We don't believe it.
And
There's
then,
nothing you can
and
do.
then, Letitia hating ass made this comment talking about, well, we just know how to have fun, when we do our trips. That's something Stormy needs to learn to do.
And get out of the warehouse.
Wow.
Bitch, at least I got a warehouse.
Oh my God. Anyways, she, like I said, she heard Marsau say, we need to go back to counseling. When really, in reality, Marsau said, you need help. You need to go to counseling. But like I said, reality's blurred for some people.
Very much so. Speaking of reality being blurred, then they have a very interesting conversation about the website debacle, right? Y'all remember, Tisha went and copied and pasted information from Stormy's website onto hers, right? Well, Stormy brings it up again. She was like, I haven't really talked to you since the whole website debacle and what's going on with that. And Tisha goes into this long-winded explanation about whose fault it was, all to come to the end to say that it wasn't me. I ain't had nothing to do with it. And I cussed everybody out. I cussed up the web designer, blah, blah, blah. And then Stormy says, well, you want to apologize to me, though? Like, shit. And Tisha's like, apologize to you for what? And I'm like,
you can't tell me, well, I don't know what it's called, designer or whatever the hell it is. You mean to tell me out of all these different beauty websites, all these different products, whatever, all these different disclosures, all that stuff, you mean to tell me out of everybody, your designer gets a hold of Stormy's stuff randomly out of thousands and thousands?
But that's one point, right? But the main point in this discussion is when Stormy asks, like, okay, are you going to apologize to me? And Tisha's like, for what? I didn't do it. That was my designer. And he got cussed out for it. And Stormy's trying to get her to understand, but regardless, like that was a bad look on us. And she's like, it wasn't a bad look on me. It didn't say anything about me. And then Stormy's having this very remedial conversation with this idiot who, like, it was so frustrating because Tisha's lack of self-awareness is so alarming to me. Because the fact that you are a grown woman and a mother to children and somebody had to like really drive you to the destination for you to realize how it was a bad look on your business, on Stormy's business, with the simple fact that you guys are on Love and Marriage Huntsville. And she was like, well, yeah, it helped the sales. It was like, bitch, you really don't understand why this is an issue? Because we can feel however we want to feel about Stormy, but the fact that Stormy automatically, I guess when this situation happened, she said she instantly called Tisha and was like, hey, like, how can this be resolved? Like, you already know, like, there's people that don't like me. There's people that don't like you. It's all going to fall back on us.
That don't like you.
It's all going to fall back on us and the reputation of our business. Like, we already know that. And Stormy is a businesswoman first. So I'm not 100% shocked that she was able to take accountability for what happened, even though it wasn't even her site. But even what she said, that she had to like basically do damage control on her social, on her website, and to clear it all up. And that wasn't even her doing. But the fact that you can't understand that it doesn't matter who your web designer was. It doesn't matter who your manager is. It doesn't matter who your staff is. It doesn't matter about any of that, because at the end of the day, that's your business. It's your name and reputation that's on the line. That whole scene was extremely unattractive. And again, I don't understand what you think this is going to do for your business, because now we see how you move with business. Like, we see how you move and how you're very unprofessional, because that's what it really boils down to. Like, I'm going to use a word that you might be able to understand. It's very unprofessional. Point blank, period. Like, no.
All right, y'all. Y'all ready for some Fletcher Drama Hour? So, as y'all know, last episode, Chris and I'll call him CJ because it's Chris Jr. So we not get those mixed up. They had their little sit down. Father son sit down in which CJ was kind of venting out about how things been going for him, how he feels the family sees him, how he feels he's getting treated, him feeling like he and I dread lightly when I say this, him feeling like he's suffering. Or did Chris say it, or did CJ say depression?
Chris said it.
Okay. Well, just saying how things been going for him, how he's been feeling. And in which, in that moment, Chris became very concerned, even very emotional, letting CJ know that, I got you. You need to let me know. I'm always going to have your back. And no matter what time of the day, all that stuff. And so we have a scene in this episode where Chris came to let Nell know how this conversation went. And which you guys know, I'm learning Nell is very animated with the family. And when I say animated, I get a sense Nell is tired of their bullshit. She's tired of these kids always having to bail them out. And it seems like when she bails them out, she doesn't hear from them like that, or they just take it for granted. That's what I'm getting. But, Chris was letting Nell know how this conversation went, and Nell was still standing on how she felt. Mm-hmm. She felt he is upset because he doesn't like how his life is right now. He doesn't take accountability. He doesn't take responsibility. He still owe me money. That's why he's upset. And, Chris is trying to work his way through now. Like, I feel like it's much more. He explains to me about these late night rides out at, just going anywhere around the city to clear his head. I feel like it's something more medical, like something deeper. And, Nell still feels like, I don't know how to take this because after the dinner we had, I ain't hear from him. And she's like, and I'm going to go off because any of my kids, if you're not around, I don't hear from you. When I do see you, it's up. It's on. Especially when you owe me money. One interesting thing they said, though, during this conversation, I think it was Nell. She pointed out that Chris hasn't been right since his football letters. And, to let y'all know this, so in high school, you get schools that recruit you. They send you letters just to let you know, hey, we may have some interest in you, send us send us some game tape, send us your grades, GPA, transcripts, all that stuff. And one thing about men when they play football in high school, a lot of them are really just like plan A, which is I'm gonna go to college and play, I'm gonna go to the NFL. And they don't have a plan B. And a lot of people in these cities, towns where it's all football and it doesn't work out, they don't know what to do. And I'm not saying that's what it is, but I'm getting a sense of, ever since that, I guess Chris fell into a little identity crisis, trying to figure out who he is outside of football, because that's not a thing anymore. And that could have led him to get into trouble. We don't know totally what he did, but,
right.
He has a little rap sheet. And that's very common with a lot of, let's be real, not everybody goes to college.
Right.
And
right.
so with that, I've personally known people who like in high school put everything into sports. That's all they want to do.
Yeah.
That's all they know. And when it doesn't work out, it's like they go in this state of who am I? What am I good at?
I feel like we've talked about that a lot on this channel.
My identity.
Yeah.
And a lot of them, some get in trouble because they don't know what to do. Some just stay at home, just living off mom and dad, grandma, grandpa. Some do that. And, I've known some people who got into a depressive state because they don't know what to do with themselves. Because they're so used to people knowing them for being good at this sport. Because they did say he was good, being good at this sport, or the expectation of you to excel and go further with it. And when you don't, it puts you in a state like, I'm a failure. What do you think of this scene?
Well, okay, so I want to first address what you were just talking about, because we've talked about this so many times, because it comes up a lot of times on the type of reality shows that we review, when it's the, families, marriage, all of that stuff. And this whole sports thing, I just feel like Nell hit it right on the head when she said that things have not been right since then. And so once she said that, I was like, oh, okay, so he's one of those. Because everything that you just described, like, I know men and people that experience the same thing. I always say, like, I really feel bad for people that experience their peak in life in high school because they don't know who they are and their identity is wrapped up in whoever they were and what was going on in high school. And that you end up being like 40 plus, talking about your football career from high school.
40 plus,
right?
Still going back to the high school games in the crowd.
Right.
Talking
right.
about the good old games, talking
right.
about games that happened 20 years ago.
Right.
Be in the bars local in town.
I was about to say, you go to the bars.
Go to the restaurants, you sitting there talking about, yeah, man, remember at homecoming I threw that 50-yard touchdown pass 30 years ago.
Right.
Like, people get stuck on shit.
Right. Or or people that experience their peak in college. And so like everything goes back to college days. And so when you're talking to them, I can only imagine you're probably in your 50s and you go back to your homecoming and it's the same dudes that's doing the same things that they were doing when they were in college. That just means that they reached their peak at that time, right? And so the rest of their life was like dictated off of that. And I never blame the children first. I always start off with parents. Always. Because that's why I feel like it's extremely important to raise well-rounded kids. We all have our passions, right? And some of us find our passions later on in life. And so I never promote that when you reach a certain age, you're supposed to have certain answers. Like, never. Like, life is a journey. But when you are raising your kids, putting so much emphasis on one sport or one thing at a young age and then putting all of your eggs in that basket, I just feel like it's very dangerous. Making it to the NFL is not a guarantee. Making it to the NBA is not a guarantee. That does not mean that I'm saying not to strive and push yourself and work hard at your craft. But what I'm saying is you have to be a well-rounded individual that if this thing doesn't work out when you're 15, finding other things or finding other passions or exploring other things, I just feel like it's really important. I've always said that when the time comes for me to have kids, I want to put them in all the sports that I can possibly do. I want to have them try different instruments. I want them to be a part of different organizations. I just want to be able to raise well-rounded children. I was raised that way. I feel like my mom put me in a lot of different things. Now, mind you, the things that was sticking, it stuck, right? So I was a dancer. I was in pageants. That's just what I love to do. My mom tried to put me in sports, and I was just like, no, I don't want to do none of this. She tried to put me in tennis. This woman tried to put me in a tennis camp. Why?
That cardio.
Why? Was not having it. The only sport that I regret not trying, and I wish I would have done it, was track and field. I really wish I would have ran track. But other than that, like my mom tried, Bree, you want to try basketball? No, I want to go to this pageant. I want to do a tea party. I want to go do the girliest things in the entire world. That was just me. And I feel like when dealing with your children, once they come into their personalities, you kind of see like what they're good at. But I was still involved in other stuff. So my whole world wasn't wrapped up in dance. Dance was a passion of mine. I still love it. But I did other things. I just feel like it's important. It's also important for your kids to have a social life, to be able to socialize with kids and people their age and older, having a mentor. I just think you need to have well-rounded kids, because then you end up in situations like this where this young man is still stuck on football letters or scouting that didn't go his way. And now look, on another note, this is another scene where I will say that I am liking the Fletchers more and more. Nell, what I will say to you, that I appreciate the self-awareness where you are able to see now, like, we was giving him the luxury cars, because she said that to Chris. She was like, we was giving him the cars thinking that it will, put a band-aid on how he was really feeling, or to take away or distract him from the whole football stuff, and shoving out money and giving him things, but that wasn't working. So I appreciate her acknowledging that now. She was, at first, she was like, Chris is just an asshole. He's just a little asshole. He's just a little asshole. And she was over it because she feels like he just doesn't take accountability. And he hasn't had to take accountability because he hasn't even been doing well with responsibility, which are two different things. And so I appreciate the self-awareness there. I think that there's no such thing as a perfect parent or perfect parents. And it's all a learning experience. So I also appreciate the balance that I see between Chris and Nell, right? Where they can be able to challenge each other in how they parent. So I really appreciated the scene. It ended with Nell agreeing that she didn't know that Chris was struggling, little Chris, so CJ, was struggling as much as he was. Like, she didn't know about him going out in the middle of the night, driving, and just being out in the streets. And she didn't know that he was, like, really struggling with being around the family. So she says she is open to seeing what happens after he does the counseling, and see if there's any progression. And I think she's like, you know what, she's going to take a step back and just see what happens, instead of trying to get in the middle of it and trying to control it. Okay, so now we have one of the most annoying scenes in Love and Marriage history. Okay, this is the conversation between Mel, Tisha, and Kimmy. They all meet up at a nail salon to do some pedicures. Mel comes and she like, my feet is already done. I'm just here because we have to film. Let that be clear, okay? And Kimmy's intentions on this conversation is just so they can do like a little temperature check and like hash out any misunderstandings that have taken place in the last few days. One of them being the little attitude that Tisha got the last time they met up at that little Zumba class. Either it was Zumba or some type of workout class that they did when Tisha walked out. Yeah, that scene. So things like that. That's what we're thinking we're going to talk about. But then here come Kimmy. Kimmy decided to choose violence today, okay? So she, in a very passive-aggressive way, asked Mel why wasn't she invited to Mel's name change ceremony. Now, when I say passive-aggressive, before I even get into where the conversation leads, my first issue was her going around the mulberry bush and trying to like package it like, oh, I'm looking at my phone. I'm thinking my phone gonna ring, and I see that you live your life on social media, which was a dig. It was very passive aggressive, but it was a dig. And she's like, so I saw that you put it on social media, and like I'm thinking, I'm about to get the invitation, and then it don't come. When you could have just directly asked her, hey man, like why? Like I saw that you had your name change ceremony. Why didn't I get an invite? That's all you had to say. All that extra shit really irritated me. Mel, in a very, very direct way, right? She says, well, if I would have invited you, that means that I would have had to invite your bitch ass husband, right? And then it would be Tisha. Now I had to invite Tisha's bitch ass husband. And I didn't want it to be a thing. Like, we know how things work in this group. They are friends with Martell, my ex-husband, and the whole ceremony is about taking or getting rid of that last name, Holt, and, reconnecting with who I am, reconnecting with my last name. And I didn't want that moment to be redirected to something negative and turn into a thing. Very direct, very clear, very there was no ambiguity there. Very clear. And yet, Kimmy made the decision to misunderstand, because she takes it as, oh, like, well, I guess she cleared it up. Like, she wanted her close and loyal friends there, so she cleared it up. I guess I'm not that person for her. No, bitch, you're not that person. You're not. And you know you're not. Why are you playing in my face? Why are you doing that?
In a nutshell, Mel did not want to give them something new to talk about with their boring ass lives. Because as y'all seen, you know, Marcella, Marisa, and Martella, as y'all see when they get together, they're little gossiping birds. And especially something for this moment.
Right.
Mel did not want to see Letitia, Marsal, Maurice, and Kimmy sitting in the chairs over there giggling, smiling, knowing that they just trying to take in everything they're seeing and hearing.
To report
so
back.
So they're going to pour back to Martell.
Right.
So Martell could then act a fool, and then Mel got to deal with Martell acting a fool.
Right.
It's a ripple effect with them. And so what she wanted to do was she just wanted to make sure they didn't even get to that point. And, of course, Kimmy's butthurt because she's like, oh, so you don't find me loyal.
Right? Like, they do not wish Mel well. They don't wish her well. And you know that.
And, the funny thing is, Letitia's sitting back in that chair like, I ain't got nothing to say because she knows how I was about to be. She knows how we were about to be. Like, Letitia can't say shit.
I think part of it, but then she flat out said, she was like, I think that Kimmy's hurt because she's like, it was Mel that put together her event for the cancer celebration, like for her recovery from cancer.
She did because cancer's a serious thing. She wanted to help uplift Kimmy because Maurice was being an asshole, worried about sex. She wanted to uplift her. There's a difference. Yes, Mel did that from the kindness of her heart. Right. But at the end of the day, let's like you said, Kimmy's missing the point of who you are attached to.
Right.
And the thing is, if you come in, you're bringing your husband. And like Mel said, that's just not going to happen because if that happens, like I said, it's the ripple effect.
It's funny because I feel like, when we first started watching this show, Kimmy, let me take that back. When I first started watching Love and Marriage Huntsville, I did not like Kimmy. The whole scene with the three of them hoes, the two of them hoes, Tisha and Kimmy ganging up on Mel because Mel was inviting them to galas. Listen, it's a sore subject for me. And all of a sudden Mel was bougie and all of this other stuff because she was trying to put y'all on too. Whatever. I did not like Kimmy. But it wasn't until like season 2 maybe where I really started to like Kimmy. Like I really started to feel like one thing about that woman is she's a fantastic communicator. And I feel like she has the patience of like a nun. Like she was just extremely approachable. She seemed like she had a very kind heart. And she was really smart. Like I love an intelligent woman. Like, oh, I love it. An intelligent black woman, that's my thing. And you could tell that that's just who she was. She came off very independent. Like I liked who she was. Period. All I'ma say is her likability is decreasing by the episode. The longer she is married and attached to that man, it's like her likability is going down. Now I'm starting to, the one thing that I always used to credit her for was her communication skills. Now I feel like she is a horrible communicator. Because in this conversation right here, like I said, it was very passive aggressive. It was also very condescending. In the more conversations that she has with her husband, it's so frustrating because I'm like, you're not advocating for yourself at all, I feel like. And again, just going around and around and around and playing into his foolishness. Like it's just a turn off. And going more with that point, once Mel clears it up and says how she feels about why they did not get an invite, Kimmy decides to take another route in insulting Mel by then saying, like, well, have you ever thought about, like, how does it feel, like, having your kids, like, not have the same last name as you? She was like, because, when it was me and Jalen, like, that was like a really big insecurity of mine of like, I just feel like as black people, we can fall into those stereotypes of like the kids not having our last name. Whatever this bitch was trying to create in her mind and what she thought it sounded like, it didn't come off that way. Because that was some stupid shit that she said out of her mouth. I don't know where she was going. I really don't. Clearly, it was based off of some type of trying to appease, I'm going to say, white people and live in a very misogynistic world as far as having the last name of the father and the mother and like what? X the fact that Mel was a wife. Mel was a wife. She was a wife. And like Mel said, my kids know what it is. We was married. We had a family. We have 4 children together. They know what it is. I didn't worry about that at all because I'm a grown ass woman. So why do I have to worry about or dictate how I move and try to filter and maneuver through life based off of people's perception or people's stereotypes and all of that shit? Why would I do that? And why would I raise my kids to believe in that? And on top of that, were you and Jalen's father married? And again, that's a question. So please somebody let me know. But I want to say they were never married. And I don't know if that means that Jalen and that has the same last name as her. But regardless, she now is a Scott. So what are we talking about? And why does this matter? Why does this matter? That's her prerogative. That's her life. And she shouldn't have to think or care about what people think because of stereotypes. That was it was so, because Kimmy didn't even believe what was coming out of her mouth. What she was trying to do was take a dig. That's how it came off. And it's so irresponsible because you are in your feelings about her not inviting you to her name change ceremony. You feeling a way about that. It's irresponsible to now open up another can of worms about black women, because that's what we're talking about. Black women having different last names than their kids. Because now you done created a whole nother debate on social media with people that watch this show, because we looking at you like, girl, what are we talking about?
I mean, I feel like it holds no weight. It just seems like that's just the type of thing on paper to put out in public. The whole image of, it seems like there's an image issue if you don't share the same last name as your kids. Like you're just out here freelancing, doing blasey blasey, like you're not being what's the word? I guess I would say the American dream woman, like the American dream family, the traditional. That's what I'm trying to get with this. That's not how the world is anymore. That's not how our country is anymore. People have certain circumstances where the mother may have a different last name than the kids, and this ain't a traditional world anymore. So I honestly feel like her trying to say that is like she's trying to take on the character of somebody in that situation, as if they're not equipped or they're not. It just seems like it's a dig at somebody's character.
No, it is. She's trying to say,
or how somebody's life is. Like you look down on them because they don't share the same last name as their child, when everybody has different circumstances.
She's claiming that is the stereotype for black women. Like she brought us into all of this for some reason.
Well, no,
which we all know that is what many stereotypes about black people are, specifically black women, us having different baby daddies and not being married, whatever the case is. But like you said, brand new day, ladies and gentlemen, brand new day. They can white people can still believe that. Black people can still, adhere to all of that foolishness. But I'm here to tell you, first of all, it don't even make sense because white women getting divorced too. And changing their last name.
It's happening to everybody. It's happening to everybody, white, black. It's just Kimmy wanting to stretch that. for whatever reason. Like I said,
she was trying to take a dig,
and so it's a stretch. But that's happened to everybody.
Yes.
And I don't feel like people are any less or like I just like that dig isn't called for because you don't know people's situations. It's pretty stupid to me. But like I said, we all know Kimmy was reaching for a reaction. Okay, y'all. So the last thing we had this episode was the double date from hell. It's good to see Courtney back on the scene. Stormy actually invited Marcella and Letitia to come play pool with them for a little double date. Now, disrespect number one. Letitia and Marcel came an hour and a half late.
Yes, that's beyond disrespectful.
Which was on purpose. It was probably Marcel's doing because he wanted to be petty. And his little puppy behind him, his assistant, Letitia, followed along. So the thing is, y'all get invited somewhere and y'all come that late. That's cool. That's cute. They come in, trying to do their pleasantries. I can tell that Stormy and Courtney were just like, really though, but, whatever. And during their conversation, the infamous B word gets brought up between Stormy and Marcel. As you guys know, I believe it was the town hall.
Yeah. The
town hall for the Black Expo. Stormy whispered not whispered. She gave the infamous line about Marcel, like, "You're being a bitch." And in which Marcel, he tried to laugh off, trying about, yeah, I'm gonna be a big bitch, And his little boyfriend Martel came in trying to, soften it up and everything. I know the guys when they come gang up and everything. And Marcel's pretty much trying to call Stormy out about being contradicting. Like, we had this conversation about the B word, why you still using it? And Stormy's trying to tell him, I'm not calling you one. Times you act like one, but I'm not calling you one. But at the same time, she sent her a little confessional, I can respect boundaries, and I'll try to respect the boundaries, but in the day, he's still a bitch, though, pretty much, And, so Marcel then pretty much says to Courtney, like, you don't feel this is disrespectful for your wife to call me a bitch. And, Courtney's just like, shoot, you laughing, like, I don't actually see no problem with it. I mean, and then, while going back and forth, Stormy says something so funny. She's talking about the date, the picnic, about how Marcel's acting. No, because Marcel actually talked about ignoring Stormy.
Now, one thing I will say about this whole bitch comment, listen, like, they can go back and forth and talk about it till they're blue in the face. Like, yeah, Stormy calling another grown man a bitch, like, come on. Yeah, right? Like, for her to even give the reasoning of, like, well, you should have, said how it made you feel, and I would have stopped. It's neither here or there. I mean, Marcel is a bitch, right? But should you go around calling grown men bitches? Depends on what they do.
So with all this going on, Marcel's making a comment saying pretty much while playing pool, I'm about to ignore Stormy. And Stormy pretty much goes into saying, well, shit, you see we're ignoring got you. It got a drink thrown in Tisha's face. And oh, Lord, that's when Tisha on the buck up talking about,
she's like, though, that's disrespectful. Like, why would you say that? Like, it seems like you have a problem with me. Like, bitch, again, you are so hell-bent on misunderstanding. It's very clear. She said what she said, and she's not lying. Your husband said that, then I'm just gonna ignore you then. And Stormy flat out says, well, no, don't do that because that's disrespectful. And it's that type of disrespect that got a drink thrown in your wife's face, which is true. That is fact. Kiki threw a drink at Tisha's face because they were ignoring her. That is how Kiki feels. Now, whether or not you want to agree, because Marcel was like, that's not why she threw the drink. Again, trying to really ride the wave of she threw the drink because she was on drugs. And Tisha's thing is, like, by Stormy saying that means that you are making it my fault about why she threw the drink at me. And that is not what Stormy said. She just said a fact, whether right or wrong. And I think Stormy said that. I'm not saying that it was right for her to throw the drink, but that is the reason why. She threw the drink because y'all were ignoring her. That's just a fact.
And after that, Marsal, being Marsal, y'all know he has to take his dig, in which he lets Stormy know, I'm not pretty much trying to say the B word is a part of Stormy's culture.
Which I
Like I'm
see
not
what he was
like
doing
yeah,
with that too.
like he's trying to say I'm not part of your culture. I know y'all do that in your culture, but that's not for me. And Stormy after that, I can see honestly she was ready to leave the scene because she knew where this was about to go.
She got on the phone
and I already knew she was about to put that pool stick 3/4 up Marsal ass. And when she walked away, and Courtney's over there laughing because he know what his wife about to do. He knows that pool stick's about to just whoo. But Courtney, I'm very surprised. I expected, Courtney really kept it calm because I feel like he felt like his wife can hold her own right there while he's right there, and what she did. Because like I said, Marsal does not want any piece of Courtney. We all know he will run.
But they're also not worth it. I think
no, they're not.
I think Courtney was calm because he's realizing that like Marsal and Tisha is not worth it. Like they're so bottom of the barrel at this point. Like things that they have done, and just the last few episodes that Courtney has seen. Like now he has experienced it, where he's just like, yo, like they're a joke. Like at this point, you're not on our level. And so with Marsal constantly throwing the digs of that's your culture, what he means is like you're beneath me, like you're ghetto, you're this.
Pretty much ghetto.
He said the same thing about Tisha's family was saying like you from the other side of the tracks. Like he says like little things that again it's just very condescending and like we see you, we see what you mean. My only thing, right? Like it was funny. Stormy's reaction was funny because she also at the beginning of the scene she was like once she went home and really thought about her conversation with Tisha from a couple of days prior, she was like, I realized that bitch was trying me. Like now I'm aggravated. And that happens to me all the time. You go into a conversation with somebody and you leave the conversation, you be like, damn, like I think she was trying me, or I should have said this, or I should have said that. We all experience that. But Stormy, I'm going to be honest with you. I can only feel bad for you but so far because, girl, Mel tried to tell you. Mel tried to tell you, but you wanted so bad to be Team Scott. Now look.
Well, y'all, that's how the episode ended. I would say this episode was actually pretty fun filled.
After talking about it, no, it wasn't. It was aggravating.
We had no Martell sighting on this episode.
That's always a plus, but we got Maurice, and I'm sorry, but I dislike Maurice. So I like this. No, never mind. I really can't stand Martell.
But this I think it was a good episode. Like I said, as much as I made jokes about Nell, I was really interested to see that conversation. No, she's still shiesty shit. But, good to see that.
He gonna come around, y'all, one day.
I think my favorite character is Courtney.
Mine's too. Besides Mel, of course.
But I think Courtney's my dude.
Before we log off and send y'all on to enjoy your week, I do want to give a shout out to one of our subscribers that I feel like has been down for us and been really supporting us. It feels like since day one. I want to make sure I get this at right. It's D Herford 6891. Now, this beautiful young lady has been very interactive with our videos, with us, and has been giving us so much support. And I wanted to give you a special shout out because I just want you to know that we see you and that we are super grateful for your support.
Most definitely.
And for you constantly interacting. There's been times where we haven't been consistent. And I think one of our biggest fear is just losing the little bit of subscribers that we have right now. And every video, you are first to respond, first to like, and one of the first people to watch. So I just wanted to personally say that. I appreciate you. I appreciate the support, and we appreciate you. Thank you so much. And we're going to do this more often. I want to make sure that we show love to the people, to our day ones, people that have been riding with us for these last few months since we started this channel in the spring. So we'll do more of that. And if you do want to shout out, just, put it down in the comments and we'll make sure to do that. And then also let us know what you're working on, because we also want to show that support back. Let us know how we can best support you. Again, we are really trying to build a community here. Doing reality TV show reviews is fun. And it is the foundation of the channel, and we're trying to grow from there. But we have so many other ideas and so many different things that we want to do and how we want to utilize YouTube. So we want to have your support in the future. So I just want you to know that we're not taking you for granted. So thank you.
Shout out to D on the track.
I don't know why he said that.
But yeah, y'all let us know what y'all think. Hit the comments. I did a better job this week. The other day I did respond back to y'all comments, and I will do it again. I'm getting better at it. Let us know how y'all feel about the episode. Let us know how you feel about what we said. Respond to us, respond to each other. Continue to like and subscribe. Share our channel with your friends, colleagues, everybody.
Take things out.
But we love y'all. We appreciate y'all. And we will catch y'all for the next episode. And like I said, y'all spend time with the family. It's holiday season.
Yes.
It's not summertime no more. So y'all be off the streets and wrap that blanket up and warm up.
Right.
Send them on.
Bye.